There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming out, we can be heroes everywhere we go. We can have all that we ever want. Swinging like Ali, rocking our bodies, standing on top like a champion. Keep your silver, give me that gold. You'll remember when I say we can be heroes everywhere we go. Keeping us down is impossible. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable.
좀 한국 사람들보다도 좀 더 재밌고 그냥 팀 분위기도 좋은 것 같아요. 한국보다 뭔가 더 적응을 더 잘할 수 있었던 것 같아요. 좀 나눠진 것 같아요. 몇몇 팀은 좋은데 몇몇 팀은 좀 많이 좀 떨어지는 것 같아요. 저희보다 확실히. 다른 나라에 비해서 그렇게 막 약한 건 아닌데 그냥 뭐 한국, 뭐 중국 이런 쪽에 비하면 그렇게 약한 편은 아닌 것 같아요. 그냥 한국, 중국에서 이런 데서 보면 이게 좀 약해 보일 수 있는데 제가 보기엔 그렇게 약하진 않은 것 같아요. 저희 팀 뭐 초반에는 조금 살짝 다 이길 수 있는 경기 다 2대1 그렇게 했거든요. 다 이길 수 있었는데 몇 번씩 실수해가지고 그냥 이제부터는 다음 주도 2대0 할 수 있게 하고 이제부터 더 좋은 모습으로 보여드리도록 노력하겠습니다.
Outcasters for the second match. I'm Atlas. With me is Chisto. I'll be getting right into IPT, Imperium Pro Team versus MSK.
Yeah, so for everyone just tuning, a quick recap of what happened in their first match. It was TNC securing the #1 spot headed into next week, of course, getting that 3 points with a 2-0 victory over Nag Esports. But now, headed into the second match, the importance of this for both MSK and IPT is that whoever wins headed into next week will be the second seed. And that's very important, especially now that we're nearing the playoff stage, a new format. The first seed and second seed will be waiting in the semifinals already, so a lot on the line for this second match.
Definitely, if either team falls behind and they don't get that second seed, they'll be in a very, very difficult spot here because it's just going to be a lot harder than if you were second seed. And definitely, these two teams that we'll be facing off right now are very powerful. MSK and IPT, historically, one of the most powerful teams we've had in the PGS, and their laners are very solid. The imports and MSK actually showing up quite a lot. So I'm really interested in seeing how this match will actually play out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the imports from MSK, of course, bringing in 2 new Korean players into their roster. I actually heard from Light the other day when he was discussing what were his thoughts about the imports, and he treated it as they're still just League of Legends players.
Yeah.
Where in a sense, I just want to test myself versus them because we all know Koreans are really good at this game. So once he comes into the Rift, it's like a big test for him, so he gets to see how well he matches up versus them. But he's not gonna treat it like it's a super high skill gap.
Yeah, it's not gonna treat it like some sort of hard mode. It's just it's another level for Light, and that's really the mindset that IPT has going into this game. But MSK, they also have their own like mental strength and their mindset getting into this game, and they're in it to win it.
Yeah, I really like that mindset where we don't underestimate anyone, but we also don't overestimate people, and I think that's very healthy for a pro team.
Yeah, definitely. Just being able to appraise the other teams like correctly and with respect. That is going to play a lot into how you'll actually play out the games. Here, of course, a matter of rundown. We have the rosters for both of our teams, and they're quite powerful. And some of these are really old names in the PGS that most of us recognize. So this is going to be the clash of like 2 powerhouses.
Yeah, you mentioned old names, but let's go over and talk about the newer players, such as from MSK, Gary. During his interview, he mentioned that Mineski were making small mistakes in their previous games. That's why they weren't clean 2-0s.
Yeah.
But he mentioned moving forward now, they're going to try and make less mistakes and secure clean 2-0s.
And what other team to really test that new mindset to the limit is IPT. Like, this is going to be a tough match for Mineski, but they definitely have the potential. Both of these teams just have the potential to outplay each other. They have good macro. Their mechanics are also on point. So it's just going to be to see who executes their win conditions, their compositions much better.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell which the better team is like right now. But once you load on the Rift, maybe we can tell who the better team is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, and then coming to next week, they'll start practicing. They'll improve more, and it's just going to be a test every single week that they have a game to see how much they've improved, how much they've adapted from their mistakes, how much they've built up on their strengths. So it's a process, really, this entire split for the Pro Gaming Series to see which teams, and as you can see here in our standings, 11 points on TNC. That means that neither Mineski nor IPT can actually reach that right now. So it really is going to be a battle for second place.
Yeah, second and third place. But
Yeah.
like we mentioned, the importance of getting that second seed means that you will have a playoff bye, I should say, where you're already in the semifinals. So that's very important, especially you want to rest your players, have more time for
A lot of
preparation.
information as well.
Yeah, but speaking of preparation, let's see what these teams have in store as we head straight into the drafting phase.
All right, let's get right into it. Mineski immediately banning out the Azir has been very popular across most regions. Just a lot of power, being able to control a lot of zones with so much damage. And of course, the rest of the bans follow indeed. Just banning out Galio, possibly from Light. And Jace as well, power pick for Suzaku.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a Kha'Zix ban coming from IPT. Jun has been playing this champion a lot throughout the weeks, and the interesting ban from IPT is the Zoe ban, because we saw Light. We saw Light's highlight, and he can play Zoe very, very well, but unfortunately not this game.
They are playing on red side. They might not want to risk giving away to Zoe. It is still a very powerful pick, even with the nerfs to Sleepy Trouble Bubble and even the range on Battlestar when you're ulting in. So that's still a power pick that they don't want to give up. But of course, Mineski picks up the Rise. I don't think the nerf to his interaction with Zhonya's does much. He's still a very powerful late game scaling champion.
Very safe blind pick
Yeah.
mid laner as well.
As-
Right?
yeah,
He
definitely.
does well versus a lot of matchups. But looking at the response from IPT, they've locked in. Well, with the Cassiopeia locked in, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a Camille jungle, a
Yeah.
Gangplank top lane, and a Cassiopeia in the mid lane.
We have seen it in the PGS. It's also fairly common in like LCK and LMS. So this is not surprising at all. As for Mineski, he's still going for the Gnar here as well as the Ezreal. So there's lots of flexibility in the way that they can play out their team fights and skirmishes. As for IPT, locking in the Vayne possibly for hate, that is very brave
that
move.
is locked in. So looking at IPT's lineup, a lot of damage options here. They do lack a real frontline. I don't see a real tank yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Shadow lock in something, possibly a Braum here.
That is quite possible with the Alistar locked away from him. Since Mineski did ban out 280 carries, the Taric will be
That
the
works as
lock-in.
well.
That really works as well in preventing a lot of damage. Ezreal has a pretty solid early game, but can be mitigated a lot by what stats the Shadow gives to hate.
Yeah, and with this Taric locked in, what it does do, I did mention there was a lack of frontline for IPT's draft. Taric will buy them enough time
Yeah.
to act as a sort of frontline, quote unquote.
Yeah, the Cosmic Radiance is going to be a huge buffer. The stats gain and the healing, the constant healing coming from a Taric in the front line will definitely help out Suzaku and Ivalice survive in the thick of the battle where Shyvana is, where Jun is, and where Kaigu is. So definitely, I think this is a pretty workable, very terrifying if it gets ahead composition for IPT. While Mineski, pretty good engage all around. Pretty good scaling as well. So it's both teams very solid, very balanced compositions that they've drafted.
Yeah, but we'll just have to wait and see as we load on to the Rift.
All right. right, ladies and gentlemen, we have loaded onto the Rift here for Game 1 of Match 2. This is Mineski on the blue team versus Imperium Pro Team on the red side. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, I'll just wait and see what these teams have planned out. Will they invade though? I don't think we're gonna see any invades.
I don't think so. Neither of these teams have a super solid level 1 right now, so they have to be very careful. Just defend the entrances of their jungler. So we'll see how that all plays out.
I'm very excited actually, to see how Ivalice performs on this jungle Camille, because we saw Jun lock this in a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, they didn't win that game. So maybe Ivalice has had more time to practice on this jungle Camille, and maybe it will work out for IPT.
There are a lot of ways that Camille can impact the early game. The ganking potential is actually pretty scary, looking at how many tools that Camille has to gank. So he can use that advantage to really bolster how he can affect these lanes for IPT, and they would really appreciate getting ahead in the early game, especially the Gangplank pick for Suzaku as well as Hate on that vein.
Yeah, but looking at the jungle matchup, I actually talked to one of my former players where we talked about what jungler can actually match up to the Camille. Shyvana was actually one of the picks that could leave the Camille behind in terms of farm. So if Ivalice isn't careful, he can really be left behind,
man,
especially
Shadow.
now he's already being invaded.
Yeah, right now, TG and Gary definitely trying to harass a little bit on that blue buff side and leave Shadow with less than half of his health. It's going to be pretty helpful here for Mineski in the beginning part of the laning phase.
He is playing Taric though.
Yeah, a lot of sustain, a lot of armor as well, but he will need to play a little bit more safe, especially if they had planned on going for an aggressive move in level 2 or level 3.
Yeah, and given that you mentioned the aggressive move, I don't think that IPT would be going for that. But speaking of aggressive moves, Ivalice invaded the red side of Jun.
Definitely taking advantage of the time that they invested. So now he will be actually taking away the red buff here, transitioning possibly just either take more camps coming from Mineski or try and go for a play against Jun.
Maybe IPT has to jump on Mineski here. Ivalice is behind them.
Possibly. TG might get caught here, but Gary, they have enough awareness to just back off. They do now know that, especially after that red buff take, that IPT took away their buffs here, and Mineski just recovers from it, not even phased by it.
Yeah, and the level 1 as well from IPT. I don't think they had a Dazzle stun yet to try and set up a gank, so I think it was wise that Ivalice opted to back off.
Still, in the end, that's still going to be Ivalice with his red buff still intact, so in the end he has a lot more value, unless he tries to go for something here against Jun. He is half health, already used his smite here, so no more regen, and that's the electrocute, so he will actually take away first blood here for IPT with an aggressive move against Jun, just waiting around the wings.
Yeah, Jun just gets caught out in his own jungle, too low to duel Ivalice, and Ivalice aggressive flash forward, picks up first blood, and now this Camille will be closer to completing her items.
Yeah, definitely. And once that Camille gets the items, that's going to be very terrifying, especially Ivalice. I love how he just was aware and how proactive he is right now, pressuring his lanes. But there he knew that eventually Jun would have to go to the Krugs to get a clear. So he just waited to see when he would go there, and then he catches him, gets first blood.
Yeah, it's actually a smart move because he knows that Jun didn't get his red buff. He was able to steal that away. He looked at his laners. Light had pressure mid lane, so it wouldn't be a wise choice for Jun to go for an invade to IPT's red side. So the only place that Jun would be is his Krugs.
Yeah, definitely.
Great read by Ivalice.
Great read. And Shyvana's a farming jungler, so it really is inevitable that Jun would come around the corner. But of course, moving on from that, seems like Mineski's not phased too much. Jun still actually recovered already from that, and we'll see how the rest of the lanes play off.
Speaking of the rest of the lanes, there's a Relic Shield start by IPT's top laner, Suzaku.
Just a lot of potential for that. Has the bandit actually, and being able to say if Ivalice ganks him, they can share a little bit of gold, just charge up to that. So it is a decent start for the Gangplank right there.
Yeah, and we saw this. Kung naalala ko tama, yesterday JLC, he played he started Relic Shield on Camille and paired it with Kleptomancy. So that means na-accelerate lang yung build path niya.
It's just really in the bank, lots of money, being able to spend that very early. Just the power spike. Since Camille and Gangplank are both of these champions that need their power spikes with their Triforce or with any else of their items, then having that lots of gold generation just helps them out a lot, since they don't need to make any big moves in laning. They just need to save up the money and get their investments from their gold.
Ikaw ba, Atlas, nakapag-ipon ka na?
No,
No. Ginagastos mo ba lahat ng pagkain mo?
it's all on food.
It's all in food. Yeah. Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good to spend your money on food. But yeah, like you mentioned, Gangplank needs to get a lot of money, a lot of gold, para makompleto niya yung core items niya, and already has a Sheen completed, will help his wave clear and a bit of burst damage, a bit of poke.
And since it does deal magic damage as well, the Ninja Tabi doesn't actually stop it completely. It will help out and survive against Suzaku if he wants to poke and duel and trade. However, the Sheen damage, that will actually rack up as time goes on.
Yeah, it will rack up. It's very oppressive. Laning versus
Yeah.
Gangplank, all he really needs to do to poke you is walk up to you, press Q, and then you're poked. And if you're a Nari, you need to land your boomerangs.
So it's actually, you need to get in range of him. Suzaku,
Speaking of
trying to
being
go
in
for it, he
range,
actually pushes back into the minions. Doesn't actually do much, but Suzaku is still fighting it out. Rocks get thrown at him, and he's still shooting back. But in the end, it's still going to be him up ahead here.
yeah, quite an even trade there. Both of them do have refillable potions. We'll be chugging them. They're fine. Okay,
They're
lang sila.
definitely fine.
But that is Nar ultimate burned by Kaigo. Suzaku still has Cannon Barrage.
That could possibly go to some global pressure at this point. And because both of them did burn the teleport. Ooh, this is going to be quite aggressive coming from IPT. Trying to contest the blue buff here, but Kaigo is around the corner.
Ivolis needs
Oh,
to
I
get
think
out.
he can actually get a little bit of trouble here. Cannon Barrage for the slow, still leaping after him. Here comes the Realm Warp to try and chase Ivolis. Flashes for the kill. Will they actually make it? Last hit goes to EXO and actually gets a kill on that Rise.
Yeah, the Realm Warp securing the kill, right? They're able to close the gap onto the Flashless Camille, and Light not making the rotation to try and hinder the advances of Mineski. They were able to pick up the first kill of the game.
That actually will help out EXO a lot. He does need a little boost in that gold for that Rise to just face off against that Cassiopeia. And that was a lot of resources burned, however. A lot of flashes burned for Mineski.
I think in the long run though, medyo worth it yun para sa Mineski, because we see that they like scaling. They need more gold if they want to scale into the
Yeah,
late
they need to
game.
accelerate that.
Yeah.
Just have that buffer if ever IPT goes for something really proactive. Mineski has that little bit of gold lead to really catch them.
Yeah, but looking at all of these champions, a lot of them scale very well into the late game. We see a Shyvana,
definitely.
a Ryze, and Ezreal. For IPT, Gangplank, we know once you land those very crisp barrels, it's gonna hurt.
Just those life bars will just get depleted. And Camille and Vayne and Cassiopeia, all of these are just monsters in the late game. And imagine what would happen if the Cosmic Radiance actually gets through.
If
And
it does, though.
Yeah, if it does. If IPT is able to time it later in the game, that's 4 really strong late game carries. Just being able to just go at you with reckless abandon because they're invincible. But Mineski, they have a lot of tools as well. Their damage and their actual CC and engage are actually very, very fearsome.
Oh, TG
Might be a
misses
little
Pulverize.
Doesn't
pero-
really do it. It's just both of them are just calming down right now, waiting for something to happen. Probably from a gank from either of their junglers. But so far, it seems like this bot lane has been pretty calm.
Yeah, Atlas, we keep talking about the late game fights where Mineski has to watch out for the Cosmic Radiance, but we're still at the point where we're getting there. We're building up to those fights.
Yeah.
We're still laning. Inaantay natin yung point na kaya nilang mag-engage for those full-on fights, but Jun picks up the Mountain Drake for the first Drake of the game.
Yeah, and I do think he used his ultimate to get over and just dodge the Vision Shrine that Rift Scuttler has to just prevent any sort of knowledge going to IPT. And just very quick. Even the Mountain Drake falls very, very quickly to the Shyvana.
Yeah, but of course, having that passive, the bonus damage to Drakes, I don't think Jun was scared at all because his mid lane and bot lane were pushing. So if Ivalice tried to challenge that, if he was in the area, I think the members of Mineski would have been able to collapse faster.
Yeah, they would have an advantage in terms of response to that one. So for now, they will enjoy that Mountain Drake. Won't really have an impact immediately.
Not yet, not yet. But once they do start hitting towers, or the future Drakes, we'll get to see.
That really is the long-term investment for MSK, taking away that Mountain Drake.
Yeah, this game is all about long-term, Atlas. Talagang aantayin natin yung late game na unless one team makes a major mistake that really lets the other team snowball, both of these teams will just play to their win conditions, just scale up, and then just we'll have to wait and see who executes the 5v5 better.
Yeah, but waiting for that mistake, both of these teams will have to wait very, very patiently. These are two very experienced teams with their players also like veterans, not just in the scene, but in the game itself. So waiting for mistakes and actually even looking for mistakes is going to be very difficult. And both will just have to wait for the other to pull the trigger and then outplay them in that
Speaking
moment.
of pulling the trigger,
Oh man, it is going to be Ivalis trying to go for a gank. Goes for Hextech Ultimatum. Shadow is also right around the corner for the stun onto the EXO here. But here comes the two-shot barrage. Won't really do much, but this is going to be a 3v2 in favor of MSK, and Light will actually get taken down here, possibly by Kaigu. One last shot from the Boomerang. TG giving chase onto Shadow here. And he does not have numbers on his side. Hate, really, really good.
Oh, it's so aggressive.
But that's so aggressive. Flashes over the wall, trying to take refuge under the tower, but Shadow is alone against 4. And they can actually take a lot of these turret shots with 4 people. Oh, and they actually get the kill.
yeah, Shadow actually led the entire squad of MSK to his recalling teammate. Bit of miscommunication right there. And what starts as a mid lane skirmish ends in a 4-for-1, I believe. 4-for-0 in favor
Definitely, and
of
that
IPT.
is actually very characteristic of what happened there. That gives MSK such a huge lead. They might actually get first turret of the game here. Ivalis could possibly take down EXO, but the tactical sweep takes him away.
Yeah, EXO just stayed a bit too long right there, but look at this fight, right? It all starts by IPT pulling the trigger onto EXO, but TG was at the right place to immediately turn this around, and EXO proccing the passive of Rise, able to shield himself from the Ignite, survives. And at this point, with Kaigu, the Gangplank not responding to Kaigu's teleport, the numbers advantage for MSK will just have them win the rest of this fight.
Definitely, and really, they weren't able to finish off the kill. The numbers advantage was really in MSK's favor. And what could Suzaku do there? He's a Gangplank, which doesn't have a lot of teleport impact this early in the game. There, it was just I think it was just IPT overreaching in terms of looking at the big scale and who has the teleport and which champion has the teleport and the numbers advantage that could possibly get from there.
Yeah, and kakasabi lang, whoever makes that slip up, whoever makes that mistake and lets the other team snowball, might be the team that goes down here. And right there, IPT, unfortunately for them, they made that mistake. Let's see, can they come back from this? Because MSK is in a driver's seat now. They've taken out the bot lane turret. They've already rotated their bot lane. They've headed into the top. Going to try and take down more towers.
And this is actually a difficult spot here because Suzaku was not able to respond. Well, Kaigu got 2 kills and 2 assists from that little skirmish in the bot lane. He's now at a big disadvantage, has to always be careful in there. He's being harassed out of his lane with MSK rotating to the top side because they already got the bot lane turret. They're now trying to make a move here against Suzaku because they know that Suzaku, even with the Triforce, can't really do much against 3 people.
Yeah, and I think this is very textbook by MSK. They're forcing IPT's hand, and just like that, Suzaku is forced to go back, and this is another free tower headed over to MSK's side.
There's not really much that MSK can do right now other than try and force on Kaigu, but Kaigu is very resilient right now, and because he is playing that Gnar, can handle the 2v1 a lot more on that bot side. So here, MSK gets even more gold in their pockets.
Yeah, so we've seen the map opening up. Kaigu will flash away.
It will actually chase onto Kaigu here. Ivalis and Hate trying so hard to take him down, but he is still going to live. Lots of damage onto Hate as well from the Boomerangs and the Hyper.
Yeah, actually Kaigo almost turning that around, but the flash at the right moment, not in range yet for Camille's Hextech Ultimatum, will save his life possibly, but man, just in a snap, MSK taking down all of the outer tier turrets.
And this is, as you said, very textbook. They see that IPT faltered in that early part, and they start taking advantage of everything else that follows. They open up a hole, and then they start tearing into, while IPT's trying to mend that hole, they start tearing holes into other parts of the fabric here. And MSK they do open up the rest of the map here with all of the outer turrets for IPT gone. They have a substantial gold lead at 15 minutes. Let's see how MSK actually snowballs this lead even more and how IPT can delay the game to reach their power spikes.
Yeah, and grabe nga yung punishment ng MSK when IPT made the error. MSK immediately jumps on that. They get so much, and now that the map has been opened up, sobrang tricky nito for IPT because their only source of reliable wave here is Suzaku's Gangplank. Cassiopeia isn't the best for wave here.
Definitely
Vayne
not.
isn't the best for wave here. Camille, definitely not the best for wave
No,
here.
no.
So, MSK now, the map is open up. They're going to get to set up a 1-3-1 where they put EXO in a side lane, they put Kaigu in another side lane, and they just push all of these lanes. Just constantly push, try and pressure IPT into making a decision.
There are some ways that IPT can respond to this aggressively. This 1-3-1 configuration, they can possibly go for Kaigu if he's on a side lane. He is the one with the most kills. He also, EXO, the counterpart split pusher, wouldn't have an immediate long-range teleport, only has the Realm Warp. But they have to really coordinate that. And here, because the turrets, the outer turrets are all gone, it just makes farming for these hyper carries a lot more scary.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more scary. And speaking of scary, MSK, they've been rotating around the map very cleanly here, just constantly dealing chip damage to these towers. And if you're IPT, they want to force something, but unfortunately for them, they don't have the opening yet. They don't have the window to force a fight onto the members of MSK. This is very clean macro coming from MSK.
And they're just taking down these turrets one by one very calmly. And they just get out and transition immediately to mid lane,
Wow,
where
what-
Light doesn't have enough backup just yet. So really clean. Immediately going here, Shadow and rather Ivalice and Light are still trying to go for it, and they take a lot of
I
damage
think IPT
here.
are going to try and
Cannon
force here.
Barrage might go for something. Hextech Ultimatum onto Jun, but will the Cosmic Greenness? Cosmic Greenness does not actually reach onto Ivalice, and the rest of IPT have to back off as Kaigu starts joining the party, and now they're on the run as EXO and Gary still trying to go for it. Light cleanses out of the root, but still gets taken down, and MSK flexing their muscles into this mid lane.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to take down the tower after that, but that was IPT making a decision. We need to force. It's either they just watch MSK take down their towers, or we force a fight and stop them. Unfortunately for them, they overreach. MSK immediately re-engage. Cosmic Raids does not come down in time.
Yeah,
and
that was
MSK
way too late.
will
A
get
second
an
too late.
inhibitor at 18 minutes into the game.
Man, with two Mountain Drakes, they're really making use of the resources that they had. After you got two Mountain Drakes, they just go for these turrets, and it really just helps out the way that they play this game. And there, IPT had that chance to actually try and get something against MSK, but again, if that Cosmic Radiance had hit on Ivalice, it would have given a few more seconds of DPS, but
Yeah,
no.
just a few more, but just at the last frame. It was the last frame.
Last frame. The star was almost there.
Yeah, and the maximum amount of punishment coming from MSK. Just after one error, it all stemmed from that mid lane fight, and MSK immediately snowballs out of proportion.
Oh man, that is going to be an 8,000 gold lead. An inhibitor down in the mid lane. MSK definitely in the driver's seat. They are going full throttle.
Yeah, and it started out well for IPT, picking up first blood on their jungle Camille, able to delay the Shyvana. But man, just the punish.
Yeah, definitely the punishment. Since Ivalice, the rest of MSK played their lanes very, very safely. A lot of awareness on where Ivalice could come from. And because of that, Ivalice wasn't able to transition that first kill into even more. And now, because IPT chose to pull the trigger, and MSK was able to counterattack and have countermeasures against that, now they have momentum is on MSK's side. It's like judo.
Like judo, you say?
Yeah. IPT tried to go for a move. MSK uses the force and the momentum of that against them, and now they're in the lead.
Okay. Martial arts lesson right there. Pero, yeah, MSK is snowballing out of proportion, like I mentioned, and we just have to wait and see how MSK chooses to operate here. Baron is still not on the table yet. I think they're gonna try and set up for that soon. They're already invading IPT's jungle, and looking at the vision, I don't see many red wards, aside from that one that Shadow just placed, but IPT, they're being choked out here. MSK is applying extreme amounts of pressure.
Yeah, and they can't really do much against that. And they're trying to take control of their territory, but MSK is so well aware of how, and just like that, ward gets placed, immediately take it down. And now they're eyeing the last second-tier turret, the top side. and IPT needs to make a decision here because that turret will go down with 2 Mountain Drakes off for MSK. They have to make a decision. It seems like they will decide to back off.
Yeah, but what can they do even though they have Cosmic Radiance to buy them time? No real front line. The only reliable way to engage is Camille jumping in. If the Camille dies, your entire engage is botched. And
Definitely.
now, IPT, they're facing a really difficult decision here. Because if they try and go for a fight here, Kaigo will just destroy everything down in the bot lane.
They have to be careful. They're closing in.
It's a
And the
very
mid
tough
lane
choice.
minions actually are also doing a lot of work, pulling the attention of IPT. And for now, because they haven't reached their super power spikes compared to MSK, only the Triforce to Suzaku as well as Ivalice, and Hate right now only has 2 parts of
gone.
the Infinity Edge, and the turret's just gone, and they have to back off from this because they no longer have a turret to back them up against MSK if the fight breaks out. So it's so difficult right now. Cannon Barrage to try and scare them away. Ivalice going in. A little bit of invincibility there from the Cosmic Radiance. This could be the chance here. But man, the Dragon's Descent. Jun just walks away, flies away, and now they're going to try and re-engage MSK, dealing lots of damage as well. EXO has to back off, but he's still going for more risky moves. Gets taken down by Suzaku, and Kaigo takes down Hate, but the rest of MSK still wailing down on these turrets, and Kaigo does get taken down by Suzaku with a sliver of health, but at what cost? As the rest of their teams trying to defend this 2 last turrets that they have.
Yeah, it's a very messy fight, and just at the end, I think IPT have defended here, but at what cost? 2 inhibitors down already. Gary, what can you do in the 3v1?
What can he do? He just flashes over. The physical shield does not help Ivalice at all. A Shadow hammering down on Gary. Very brave. Actually gets the kill onto Suzaku, and they both shut down each other.
Well, I did ask him what can he do in the 3v1. I'll just take out 2 members and leave the support to defend the base, but man.
Oh man, that was very worth it for Gary right there.
MSK come into IPT's base, winasak nila lahat, and they just get out.
Man, well, yeah. And that was just
That's the simplest way you could put it, Atlas.
Yeah, just decimated their base. They lost a few members in the process, but it's definitely worth it for them. Let's check out how this fight went down.
Yeah, this is IPT making that decision again. We can't just watch MSK push towards us. And this time, Ivalice doesn't go down immediately because the Cosmic Radiance was early. But still, this is a very spread out fight. Very, very messy. Hit kiting around in the side. But in the end, Gary just left untouched. The Ezreal able to clean up the rest of the members of IPT.
Man, and the cost is really heavy for IPT there. And MSK just showing so much dominance and showing so much chaos in the base of IPT. And look at that, just because Gary is left untouched and the only remaining members here are Ivalice and Suzaku, it's still so hard that they can't catch up here. And Suzaku, he was left with a sliver of health after his battle with Kaigo, but he was not impactful in the topside fight of that at all, because that barrel damage could have been super useful in trying to take down the rest of the members of MSK.
Yeah, but now looking at the lead that MSK has got, hindi sila matatakot na mag-push dito. They're super confident because look at what IPT can do. They can't respond. They're forced into making these very risky decisions that in the end won't pan out for them. MSK just looks super confident right now to push for the win.
It's really difficult right now for IPT. Even though that Suzaku is really forced to go for the Sterex here, have more defensive itemization, Ivalice doesn't really have much other than his jungle item and the Triforce, and he's trying to go in for an engage onto EXO here. Actually takes him down, and the Cosmic Radiance is now active. Kaigo's going to jump in onto 3 of them. Actually takes a lot of damage there, but Jun is now on the run. IPT can actually take this, but they don't want to overreach. They have no vision on that side of the river, and they back off.
Okay, I like that IPT didn't try and overextend there because I think MSK could have possibly went for a re-engage, but EXO was caught out of position. He was too far forward, not respecting the range na kaya siyang abutin nung Camille. IPT commit everything to trying to take down EXO, and now they've bought themselves a bit of breathing room.
And because Baron is up, that could actually cost IPT more. Thankfully for them, they did not lose anyone in that engagement, so they can possibly try and go for something if MSK tries to go for Baron. Their ward in that pit, IPT's ward in that pit is being disabled right now, so they have no clue what's happening. so far, but they just
and
back off.
TG's waiting for someone from IPT to face check. And if MSK does commit to trying to go for this Baron, they have triple Mountain Drake. That Baron
man.
will go down extremely fast.
They have to be absolutely careful here. IPT plays it safe. Just really focuses on trying to clear the waves, wailing down on their inhibitors and their turrets. So they really have to be mindful of what happens next. Mineski says, okay, let's take the fight to them now. And they're pressuring this mid lane of IPT.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. And IPT now, they're going to have to decide again. Will we have Ivalice jump in now? But Meganar is available for Kaigu. They have to take note of that window.
Jump in there.
Yeah, you don't want to fight with the Meganar up.
It's definitely going to be an intense moment here. They take down an inhibitor with ease, and they now knowing that they don't have anything else to do to try and force IPTs, they don't really need to force
Realm
anything.
onto Baron?
Oh, Realm
We've seen
Warp onto
this.
Baron. That's very, very fast. It cuts down seconds of travel time. And look at how quickly that Baron
Triple
falls.
Mountain Drake.
Triple Mountain Drake just doing so much work. IPT can't even react to that.
Yeah, what a smart use of the Rise ultimate. You can take away interactions with Stasis,
Yeah.
but you can still use it in this manner and just an immediate
Because what else is he
rotate.
going to use that for at this point in the game? So there, they just make it very much quicker. And here, they're just going to try and regroup, spend their gold, and then crash down on IPT's base once again.
Yeah, and the smart decision here for Mineski would be to head towards the bot side or try and split push with the Gnar, use the Baron buff, really try and pressure IPT. But looking at the bot lane, there's still an inhibitor turret and an inhibitor, so they want to take that down.
And those 3 Mountain Drakes really will help them out so much in
It
that
has
regard.
helped them out, Atlas.
Yeah,
It has helped them out.
in every single turret. And because that is a Shyvana, that is also Gary on that Ezreal, that is going to go
Oh, no,
down.
Jun.
Oh, that could be very, very scary. Dragon's Ascent, go away. Right there, Cosmic Radiance could help out IPT a lot, but they're in the middle of such a big fight.
Oh, Gary
Suzaku
got
takes
popped.
out Gary, so now that's the rest of Mineski. Kind of have to work without him. Jun also gets taken down. TG is alone here and will get chased down by 2 other members. Teleport back to the bottom side to try and actually defend against Kaigu.
But Kaigu took down the tower.
Took down the tower. That could be worth it in the long run, even
Okay.
though they do lose 4 members.
Okay, IPT, they win a team fight. It was all from a face check in the jungle, and they immediately popped the Ezreal. Look at the amount of focus that went onto Gary. He's immediately deleted at the start of the fight, and that was a 4v5. Kaigu wasn't there. He committed to taking down the inhibitor tower. Look here. Jun, he will face check this bush that IPT is camping. He was going to use his Dragon's Ascent smart and dodge a CC away. But look at Gary. He arcane shifts in.
Forward.
Immediately gets popped everyone, and IPT just Ezreal. Just kill this guy. And with the Ezreal gone, that means IPT can clean up this fight.
And they got split apart as well. They corner IPT from all sides and then split them apart where they can get more easily killed. And their focus on Gary, really, because he's the most fed member, and the Rise Exo, you can catch him after you kill Gary. But Gary, if you don't catch him immediately, he's just going to start arcane shifting away as soon as he gets his cooldowns off. So wise targeting by IPT, but can they repeat that? Is that a reproducible result?
It definitely is, but now no more inhibitor turrets left. IPT will be forced to defend versus Mineski. It's just a matter of how smartly Mineski approaches now, because back there in that fight around the red area, that was definitely an error. And now they need to be more controlled, more careful when approaching IPT, because like we mentioned, IPT has a lot of that late game scaling. They're beginning to deal absurd amounts of damage.
Definitely. It's very scary how quickly they can take down members of Mineski. Now that slowly, Ivalice and Suzaku are building more and more items. Infernal Drake, a little bit of a stat boost for Mineski, but IPT, if they start building those items that that Ivalice and Suzaku so desperately need, they could actually have a fighting chance. And this gold lead is actually getting smaller and smaller as time goes on. And this is going to be terrifying if IPT can get another good fight like that, where they can go full force onto Mineski's team.
Yeah, pero binanggit mo nga yung gold lead, diba, Atlas? As time goes on, the gold lead gets less and less relevant.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Everyone is 6 items,
But
but
they're still
IPT
going
are
for it.
engaging.
Ivalice could actually survive through, or enough for the Cosmic Radiance. Hate dealing lots of damage. Light takes down Exo. TG trying to block for the rest of his team in CC, but he himself also gets taken down. Double kill for Light, and that just gives him a lot more breathing room as their inhibitors regenerate.
Yeah, and this is very scary for MSK. You're constantly trying to push, but IPT are not backing down. They're beginning to look for these fights, and they're getting these fights. MSK, they're getting caught out here and aren't able to punish like earlier into the game.
At this point, Ivalice is able to survive the initial volley that MSK throws at him. Enough for the Cosmic Radiance to proc, enough for Hate and the rest of his carries to just take down Gary or Exo or whichever target they need for that specific fight. So here, MSK is starting to gonna have to be a lot smarter in how they engage these things. Well, IPT, they're just coming in full force every single time.
Yeah, this is very scary for MSK right now. You're on the verge of getting outscaled, and I think IPT have defended well. It's just, can they do more? They need more if they want to complete this turnaround, complete this comeback.
They just have to keep waiting for their cooldowns to come off, and those are really the windows that MSK can try and take advantage of. When the Hexac Ultimatum is down, when the Petrifying Gaze is possibly down, all of these really important cooldowns that IPT needs to engage, and to engage properly and with force. MSK needs to actually track when those are up, when those are down, and they need to bait out those ultimates that IPT can use to really engage on them and then just go straight for a full-on 5v5.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned where you have to bait out these key abilities. Try and force Shadow low enough so that he's forced to use Cosmic Radiance. Then once you see that going down, just immediately back off. And in that window, that around 1 minute where he doesn't have Cosmic Radiance, dun tayo papasok. Let's try and go back and fight. That's what MSK has to do here.
Yeah, but it's also very difficult at this point since they are starting to feel the pain that IPT can bring out in their composition. They have to do that bait without losing any members.
Oh.
And here, Jun could actually be in a little bit of trouble. He's isolated from the rest of his team. He has to flash away, but Ivalice is chasing him with so much vigor. And that actually gives another kill onto IPT. Suzaku's going to try in 1v1 Kaigo. His rage bar won't be there fast enough, and he gets a solo killed by Suzaku's gangplank.
Okay, this is very, very intense. If you're MSK right now, 2 of our members just got caught out. It's a 3v5 on the map. Baron spawning in 30 seconds. IPT can set up around this objective.
And that is going to be, look at this. Jun will respawn a few seconds before Baron spawns, but there IPT can already make moves, and Kaigo as well will be 13 seconds. Now they're going straight for it. Exo gets stunned down. He actually does live, but here comes a Cosmic Radiance. This gives them confidence to charge forward onto TG. Will they go for more? There's no fear whatsoever. The flash into the stun from the Dazzle definitely takes him down, and now Gary is running away so fast from Suzaku. He's dealing so much damage, but he's a big pirate right now, and he just walks away casually.
Suzaku just walked away from diving all the way into MSK's base, and man, what aggression by IPT, recognizing they can take the fight. We can use Cosmic Raids, and now their eyes are set on the Baron.
Exo is not alive for this one. He is actually a substantial source of DPS for MSK.
This will go down very fast, as regardless of Mountain Drakes. This is Cassiopean Vayne.
This is going to be a teleport back into the fray. MSK, they're actually going to try and contest this with Kaigo and Jun.
Actually, he got it!
Oh my god, Jun gets the steal, dashes out of the pit with a Dragon's Descent. Gary takes down Ivalice, but the rest of IPT are mad, but they can't do anything about it and have to back off.
What in the world is that from him? He just even walks up.
Steal. Yo, Jun. That Baron was at a sliver of health, and he takes it down, takes out Ivalice, and now IPT has to face this 5-man push, or rather this 4-man push with one split pusher, rather the 1-3-1 configuration.
You can do it, actually.
Yeah, that was so intense. Like 1-3-1 configuration when they're missing one member. Oh man.
Okay, this is IPT winning the fight. They're able to dive in here, use the combo with the Camille diving in with the Dazzle, Cosmic Radiance. They have no fear for the next 2 to 3 seconds, and they win this fight. They absolutely destroy MSK under their towers, but this all led to that Baron. And I think that's all that matters in the long run.
Yeah. That steal, where they couldn't get that last hit onto the Baron, is going to cost them so much. And now MSK is going to repeat what they did earlier. Have that really solid configuration no matter what. They'll have very fast pushes. And IPT has to once again be very careful in how they deal with MSK crashing down on their structures with so much anger and force.
Ngayon, masusubukan mo na yung mental fortitude ng IPT. Just when they thought all momentum was on their side, Jun just immediately shifts it back in MSK's favor with that Baron steal. Now, Elder Drake is on the table. If IPT gives this up, that's a huge buff. That's a massive buff to MSK because they've secured 4 Drakes. IPT cannot afford to team fight versus a Elder Drake buffed MSK.
So they really have to make a move here. They cannot afford to lose this because that's so much stats that they'll be giving up onto MSK. And that can lead to MSK closing out this game if they get this Elder buff without any contest.
Yeah, can we see another hook shot into Dazzle combo? MSK, they're trying to poke with Gary's Ezreal, but he needs to watch his mana bar. You can't run out of mana before the fight starts.
He's actually like way low here. And really, this is like a standoff. They're just waiting on who can actually go for this Elder Drake.
IPT are looming.
They're looming. They definitely want to get a taste of that Elder Drake. They want to deny it from MSK. This is just intense so far, and these two teams, everything that's happening here.
A lot on the line.
Yeah, a lot on the line. Every single movement that they make, all of this is to ensure that MSK cannot take full advantage of their Baron buff, and they cannot take the Elder Dragon without contest.
Oh, IPT have started Elder Drake.
They've actually started it. Could possibly force MSK to go to them. They are still healthy, even though the Dragon is wailing on them. They're pretty resilient, but seems like Iblis will actually go straight for it. Gets pushed away by TG. It could actually go straight for it. Kaigu is right around the corner. He has his rage almost there. He could actually get a very good ultimate here. Takes down Light. But he survives with still a sliver of health here, and Hate is doing so much
IPT.
damage. IPT taking this away. They're dealing so much damage. TG is the only one in the back line, but
Triple.
Gary is also trying to escape, but he can't, and that is an ace for IPT, and those long death timers are scary and terrifying for MSK.
IPT, they force MSK's hand. They start the Elder Drake, force MSK to challenge it, and immediately go for the turnaround engage, and man, they just turned that fight on his. IPT just absolutely wiped MSK for the ace.
That is so much outplay coming from IPT. As you said, they know that MSK can't leave that
time
Elder
is still
Drake.
long. I think this is it for the game 1, Atlas.
They're taking this down so quickly with their Triforce, with their Federated carry.
They've done
and
it.
They will actually come back from that huge deficit for this game 1.
Oh my god, IPT showing up for our first game of match 2, and man, 8k gold down, 3 inhibitors down. No sweat for IPT.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure they were sweating when MSK was wailing on them, but that resolve to actually put the momentum back in, man, that was just intense. I have no words. Well, actually, I have a lot, but
You have a lot of words. You can't blurt them out now because we're still speechless after the end of that
okay.
fight.
That was absolutely intense from both. Both teams played very well, and they had a lot of like ways that they could like have the momentum turn around in their favor. It really was like a big martial arts match where the other fighters just trying to use the attacks of the other to their advantage. And there, in the last fight, IPT just takes that away.
Yeah, but let's try and break down where it all turned around for IPT because they were in the back foot. MSK were pushing. They had the advantage. They had 2 inhibitors down at one point, and they even had Baron, but IPT were able to find the engages. They were able to scale towards the late game, and ultimately, in team fights, you got outscaled, not enough damage, and enough time bought from the Cosmic Radiance just was one of the key factors in IPT winning that game 1, but MSK do have a chance to force that game 3, or I wonder, will IPT make it 2-0?
Two of these teams are very experienced. All of their players are very good, and that's what made that first game so interesting. But of course, that is just going to be game 1. We'll actually have more games after that to decide who goes second place coming into the playoffs. For these two teams, IPT and MSK. Of course, we've been your shoutcasters for that exciting first game. I'm Atlas. With me is Chisto, and we're seeing how all of it plays out after a short break. also right around the corner for the stun onto the EXO here, but here comes the two-shot barrage. Won't really do much, but this is going to be a 3v2 in favor of Mineski, and Light will actually get taken down here, possibly by Kaigu. One last shot from the boomerang. TG giving chase onto Shadow here. And he does not have numbers on his side. Hate really good at
so
them,
aggressive.
but that's so aggressive. Flashes over the wall, trying to take refuge under the tower, but Shadow is alone against 4, and they can actually take a lot of these turret shots with 4 people. Go for it. Oh, they take a lot of damage.
I think
here.
IPT are going to try and
Cannon
force here.
Barrage might go for something. Hextech Ultimatum onto Jun, but will the Cosmic Greenness does not actually reach onto Ivalice, and the rest of IPT have to back off as Kaigu starts joining the party, and now they're on the run as EXO and Harry still trying to go for it. Light cleanses out of the root, but still gets taken down. And Cannon Barrage to try and scare them away. Ivalice going in. A little bit of invincibility there from the Cosmic Greenness. This could be the chance here, but man, the Dragon's Descent. Jun just walks away, flies away, and now they're going to try and re-engage. Mineski dealing lots of damage as well. EXO has to back off, but he's still going for more risky moves. Gets taken down by Suzaku, and Kaigu takes down Hate, but the rest of Mineski still wailing down on these turrets, and Kaigu does get taken down by Suzaku with a sliver of health, but at what cost, as the rest of their teams trying to defend this 2 last turrets that they have.
That is a very messy fight, and just at the end, I think IPT have defended here, but at what cost? 2 inhibitors down already. Gary, what can you do in a 3v1?
What can he do? He just flashes over the physical shield. Does not help Ivalice at all. As Shadow hammering down on Gary. Very brave. Actually gets the kill onto Suzaku. Oh, that could be very, very scary. Dragon's Descent go away. Right there, Cosmic Radiance could help out IPT a lot, but they're in the middle of such a big fight. Suzaku takes out Gary. So now that's the rest of Mineski. Kind of have to work without him. Jun also gets taken down. TG is alone here and will get chased down by 2 other members. Teleport back to the bottom side to try and actually...
It doesn't matter. Everyone is 6 items, but
they're still going for it. Ivalice could actually survive through, or enough for the Cosmic Radiance. Hate dealing lots of damage. Light takes down EXO. TG trying to block for the rest of his team in CC, but he himself also gets taken down. Double kill for Light. Well, with 30 seconds. Now they're going straight for it. EXO gets stunned down. He actually does live, but here comes the Cosmic Radiance. This gives them confidence to charge forward onto TG. Will they go for more? There's no fear whatsoever. The flash into the stun from the Dazzle definitely takes him down, and now Gary's running away so fast from Suzaku. He's dealing so much damage, but he's a big pirate right now. He just walks away trying to test this with Kaigu and Jun.
He got it!
Oh my god, Jun gets the steal, dashes out of the pit with a Dragon's Descent. Gary takes down Ivalice, but the rest of IPT are mad, but they can't do anything about it, and it seems like Ivalice will actually go straight for it. Gets pushed away by TG. Who could actually go straight for it. Kaigu is right around the corner. He has his rage almost there. He could actually get a very good ultimate here. Takes down Light, but he survives with still a sliver of health here, and Hate is doing so much damage. IPT taking this away. They're dealing so much damage. TG is the only one in the back line, but Gary is also trying to escape. He can, and that is a Triforce with their carry.
They've done it.
They will actually come back from that huge deficit for this game 1.
Oh my god, IPT showing up for our first game of match 2, and man, 8K goes down 3.